Hi, friends. This is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about D&D commentary on YouTube, and a fantastic panel that I witnessed at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 2, which happened in January of 2025. And it was on how to start a YouTube channel. All right, so they had three people on, and this was wild. This was wild. So they had three people on, right? So Mike Shea, okay, now that's Sly Flourish. That's the guy who wrote The Lazy Dungeon Master, okay? Then, in addition to that, they had Justin Alexander. He's, I would argue he's not really a YouTuber at all. You will find his content right here on YouTube. But like, when was the last time he updated? I think he puts a video up like once a month, right? Now, why is that? So Justin Alexander, I think he's kind of like, what do I do with YouTube? I know I'm supposed to use it. I know like it's supposed to get a bunch of views and it should drive traffic. But I got my book in Barnes and Noble, and I'm trying to work on my next book, and I'm working on, and I'm, really thinking hard about D&D. So the reality is, I don't think Justin Alexander knows anything about YouTube and how to use it. I think it's just like, the way I use Instagram. I have an account. I don't post nothing there. Like, it's just, I just don't. Yeah, I don't think it was. Now the thing is, he's incredibly valuable, and he had great content at the convention. Right? He really prepared for every single panel he was on, and he always had something significant to say. But the reality is, he has done the impossible. He has a book about Dungeons and Dragons. So you want to be a game master, on the shelf at every Barnes and Nobles in the world. Like, it's like, and that is huge. That is huge, right? But I don't think he knows anything about YouTube. So I thought that was interesting, right? Very smart guy, great content, but didn't know anything about the subject, in my humble opinion, right? Like, how to do YouTube, put a video up every 3 months. I don't think that's how you do YouTube, right? Like, okay, next, right? Then they had Eric Tenkar. All right, now he's got Tenkar's Tavern. Now, before I say these harsh words about him, let me explain that he actually has double my subscribers, right? So twice as many people listen to him as me, right? So everything I'm about to say, keep it in context of that, all right? I don't know if you should have had him on the panel, right? And the reason why is, what does Eric Tenkar do with his channel? And this is, and here, so what are the lessons we learn from this panel? Okay. First of all, I think there's an important lesson with Justin Alexander. YouTube is not the only way to succeed with Dungeons and Dragons, right? I think it's a huge, if you can get your book on shelves at Barnes and Noble, that's equal to a highly successful YouTube channel, right? And arguably, you can't really do both, because I don't know a single person who has their book on the shelves at Barnes and Noble that also has an actual YouTube channel. It's two different worlds. The publishing world is brutal, and if you're not invested in it, and you don't have your ear to the ground, you're not going to understand it, and you can't do YouTube well and do that well. So I think that's one lesson. Next, Eric Tenkar. I think there's a lot to learn from Eric Tenkar. So one, I don't think he belonged on the panel, and the reality is, what happened with the microphone was, somebody would ask a question, right? It would go to Mike Shea, Sly Flourish, Lazy DM, and he would just drop fire, like, just like, hey, here's the answer, boom, bang, boom, and everybody was like scribbling notes and like, yeah, that's how it's done. That is great advice, right? Then it would go to Justin Alexander, and he would think for a minute and be like, should I really even be on this panel? Because I don't really put that much up on YouTube. I'm not that engaged on it, but they put me on this panel, right? Like, and then he would do something, he would say something, right? And the reality is, this was his worst panel. He just did not have a ton to say that was that great. He's a brilliant guy, but he was just put on the wrong panel, in my opinion. Last is Eric Tenkar. What are the lessons from Eric Tenkar? So first of all, we need to pay attention to this. This is happening all over. Old guy likes old games and doesn't like new games. Oh my gosh. Like, what an echoing tomb whisper, man. Like, I just hear it all the time, right? And I just feel, and I just feel like we do not need to hear another person like this on YouTube, right? And so what's the answer? So first of all, I think Eric Tenkar is a smart guy, right? But I don't think his smarts matter, because he's marinated in nostalgia, and he will not let go of this horrible, I'm an old man and I like old games and new games suck, right? Like, and just saying it over and over and over on his channel, right? And frankly, dumping on the new D&D, right? And this is why I don't like these channels, right? And so I really don't think there's any need for another one of these. And I don't want Tenkar's channel to go away. I want it to change. So if you are an old guy, right, and you like old games and you don't like new games, maybe you don't need to share that with anyone because that's already covered. Trust and believe, right? Like, it's bad energy, right? And a bad vibe, right? And I think it harms Dungeons and Dragons overall. Like, I think the D&D, like, Stranger Things 5 is coming, right? Like, and people are going to come in and go, what's this Dungeons and Dragons thing? And good Lord, can you imagine if they stumble onto Tenkar's Tavern, right? And they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of old, grognards complaining about current Dungeons and Dragons and pointing people to 40-year-old dusty tomes. Yeah, right. So that's my point. So, Eric, if you get to hear this, here's my advice. Switch it up, man. Right? Switch it up. Right? Don't whisper another bad word about Hasbro or WotC because it's already covered by a bunch of other chumpies who are less smart than you. I think you're a smart guy and you can get some good stuff out there, but you have to change your vibe. You have to change your attitude. And no old man who likes old things and doesn't like new things needs to tell anyone, right? Because most people assume it when they meet you, right? So don't like, oh, look, okay, an old guy. Let me guess, you like AD&D and you don't like WotC. Like, no, you don't. If that's your opinion, you don't need to tell anybody. They know it the minute they look at you. Right? Literally, like, okay, glasses, beard, middle-aged, or like, come on, right? Like, it's like we need to stop living up to stereotypes, in my humble opinion, right? And defeat them, right? So, Tenkar, I think you have a great platform. You got more subscribers than me. Do something real with it, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.